What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to a Pay-Per-Viewpoint edition of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast. It's time for the Great Balls of Fire 2017. Yes, 2017, not 1948 or whenever the fuck that song came out. Pay-per-view predictions, where we're going to be breaking down our thoughts on what is going to happen at that pay-per-view this Sunday night. And we consist of myself, as always, the host of your show, Tony Mango. We've also got Kaylin Ferris.
Goodness gracious, Tony, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm a little bit tired, but I'm going to wake up a little bit because we're going to have some hot fire right in the face, right?
Hot fire!
Straight
no, that's
fire.
not where the fire is going. Hi!
Angie Williams as well. What's going on, Angie?
Nothing now.
Nothing anymore. There was a lot going on about like 12 seconds ago. Fire in faces and other places. Hey, that rhymed. And Callum Wiggins.
All I'm saying is if your balls are on fire, you should see your doctor.
So, speaking of balls being on fire, seeing a doctor, whatever like that, we've talked about this here and there, but we might as well mention it again because it bears repeating. The logo changes for this pay-per-view. I mean, we went from like a very generic thing where it was like the Great Balls of was like some other font, and then just fire looked like generic fire, and that seemed fine enough. It was like, it's kind of stupid, but whatever. Then they switch it over to like a just generic flame, and that was fine. Then they went with a dick.
Yeah.
And then they kind of realized that it was a dick, because even Sasha Banks was like, yeah, it's a dick.
Yeah. With 2 meteorites?
Yeah, now they switched it over. Like, fine then. If we're not going to have the dick logo, we're going to make sure that people think that it's too, like... Remember those little, what are they called? Like, I think, pinky super bounce kind of balls or something?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember those.
It's like those covered in flames or something. At one point, when they were paying for the rights for the Great Balls of Fire song, and when they've got the dick logo, and when they've got people making fun of Great Balls of Fire, you think that they should have just went... screw it, let's make another name.
No. They just got to stick to it, you know?
After all the effort they went into it.
I'm going to say after they realized the horrid mistake that they made, Vince was just like, no, we're sticking to this.
Yeah,
oh, yeah? Down. I'm not dropping this.
Do you think it was Vince himself who came up with the name?
It has to be.
That's what I thought.
No one else would have done that.
There's one other person I could see that maybe could have thought it up, or maybe would have been the one person that told Vince that it was a good idea if it wasn't Vince that thought it up, is Michael P.S. Hayes.
It sure as hell wasn't Triple H.
Oh, no.
I mean, he's trying to do stuff like NXT TakeOver Brooklyn and all that, where he's just like, hey, if we're going to Brooklyn, let's just make it TakeOver and then the area. Doesn't that work? And Vince is just sort of like, we need something that hits the kids nowadays, like Jerry Lee Lewis. It's great. It's got a lot of energy. It's balls.
See, it just screams Vince.
Well, the only reason I don't think it's Vince, because surely he would have used it by now, then. It just seems like something to be... He sat on it for like 30 years.
He sat on his balls for 30 years.
Is that why they're on fire now?
Well, shouldn't it be grapefruits of fire?
Right.
I wrote up an article the other day on eWrestling News. I'm not going to repeat everything, whatever, but go check it out if you're interested, where I was saying, you know what? If we've got Great Balls of Fire and it's coming just a few days after Independence Day, why wasn't this Great American Bash?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have made sense.
No, that's WCW.
Yeah,
that's
but still,
WCW.
They did the whole Great American Bash with WWE, and then they changed it over to the Bash, which was pretty dumb. But you got Beach Blast, and you got Bash at the Beach, and Great American Bash, and it would have been so cool to have, like, this Sunday, we've got, like, even though I don't like the whole summer kind of thing and stuff, I hate the fucking beach. It would have been, you could have had, like, the beach set, and it could have been all kind of cool with that, like, and no, instead we're going to get some jukeboxes, and... when I think of Samoa Joe clashing with Brock Lesnar, like a beast against a monster and whatever, I think of old diners.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fucking Happy Days. And it's like, was special guest referee Ron Howard. Not a fan of this.
Nope. Hopefully they'll get some better. The new ones that they come up with will be better than this, because I don't think they can get much worse.
I'm just waiting for like the pre-match video package, which is going to be Dean Ambrose hitting a jukebox or something.
Or, well, it's got to be Finn Balor because he's got the leather coat, right?
Yeah, but he doesn't have the charisma to pull it off.
But he's missing a match on the card. That's for sure. He's one of the few people that I'm like, wow, they didn't put him on there. He's got his feud with Elias Sampson. Then we got the Goldust and R-Truth feud. Nothing for either of those two.
I don't know what they're doing with Finn Balor at the moment. I'm not saying that he should be like pushed to the moon or be like consistently in the main event or something, but surely they have something that he could do rather than feud with the guy with the guitar.
I thought for sure that match was going to be on the card. I'm surprised it's not. They might add it last minute. You never know.
They could, although with the 30-minute Iron Man match happening, I think that kind of kills off a lot of that.
Yeah, I can see that.
They did bump one of the normal matches on the card to the pre-show already, which is another bad sign that they could add anything else, because they probably looked at the amount of time and they were like, fuck, what do we do? And the match itself that's getting a bump to the pre-show is the Cruiserweight Championship match between Neville and Akira Tozawa, who has been doing a little bit of a step up in his career so far since joining Titus O'Neil, which is odd to say because it's Titus O'Neil, but he's doing a pretty good job as like a manager.
Yeah, I'm actually it's slowly working.
I'm interested in what Titus O'Neil is doing now for the first time in years, I would say. So it's a good gimmick for him. It's working for him. It's definitely a plus compared to what he's been doing. But I'm still not buying it. You know, I don't accept that they're a formidable threat.
No, not at all. And I do feel like Titus O'Neil is starting to overshadow the fact that this is a Cruiserweight Championship match, and Neville's been doing such a good job as the champion. But at the moment, it seems that everyone's talking about this match. They're talking about Titus O'Neil.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not even a Cruiserweight, let alone like someone who's involved in the match.
My favorite part of this whole thing is when Titus O'Neil starts doing the kind of thing. Because Tozawa does it really like simple. It's just Titus, though, gets real into it. He's like, It's just like, dude, you're having the fucking time of your life, aren't you? Mm-hmm. And he started adding the cha-ching thing, the cha-ching and all that. This dude probably loves that so much. So I'm like, fuck it, keep him coming. You know, just keep doing it. And Neville's had some nice little back and forth. This week on 205 Live, they had a couple of little shots at each other that were pretty interesting, because Neville's been doing a good job as a heel, and Titus O'Neil's basically just sort of like, hey, fuck you, buddy, and Neville's like, nah, fuck you, pal. But Akira Tozawa's just hanging out in the background going like, I guess I'll just wrestle a match and be fun, you know?
Yeah, just confused in the distance.
I'm liking him, though. I like Tozawa. And if this was any other situation where, like, it wasn't Neville destroying every bit of his competition, I would think that he should be a good Cruiserweight champion. But I got to go with Neville in this one. I think he's retaining and dropping it to Cedric down the line.
I agree that Neville's probably retaining on Sunday, but I'm not sure who he should drop it to. I mean, that's one idea, but still haven't decided. But I pretty much agree that he's going to keep it on Sunday.
I'm agreeing that Neville's keeping it, and with Titus there, I can see a few bits of comedy and some kind of thread of interference, but Neville's going to keep it.
Perhaps he interferes and costs Tozawa the match instead of helping him.
Yeah, I'll go with Neville as well, just because I don't think that Akira Tozawa is quite ready yet. His character is almost completely projected through Titus O'Neil at the moment, because he doesn't have much of a character himself. I think the match will be very good, and it should hopefully take up a good portion of the pre-show.
I really hope so. I don't want some 6-minute match.
Yeah. The fact that it's on the pre-show makes me feel like it's going to be Neville holding on to it, because if it was going to be a title change, I think they would have moved on to the main show and put something else into place.
I hope we get at least double that. I hope it's at least 12 to 15.
It should, because, I mean, it's an hour-long pre-show, and do you really need, like, 45 minutes of, hey, let's watch that Bray Wyatt promo 6 times and stuff? We don't need that. We don't even need pre-shows anymore. Like,
no.
Nobody watches them. I mean, I put them on in the background, but I usually spend that whole time over in the basement just bullshitting with everybody instead. I'll pop up and we'll make fun of Booker T or something instead of actually listening to what they're saying, because what they're saying doesn't matter. It's Renee Young going, hey, so we've got like Big Cass and Enzo Amore. What do you think? And then Sam Roberts will be like, well, Big Cass, he turned on his friend. And then fucking Booker will be like, let me tell you something here, and just bullshit. And it's a waste of 6 minutes of moving on to some other kind of topic and whatever. So... And then we do the social media lounge and nothing gets accomplished. We do some promo for some energy drink or what's the thing that they're advertising now? It's that
Kickstarter.
No, not Kickstarter.
Oh,
That's the old
changed
one.
it.
I think it's a new one, isn't it?
No, it's some fucking game that's out there now. It's like
Rocket League.
Final Fantasy?
Rocket League.
Oh, no, Rocket League. No.
Rocket League.
Yeah, Final Fantasy was WrestleMania time.
Yeah, like anytime they start advertising something, I just check out and start writing up something on Bleacher Report about how the pre-show sucks.
Yeah,
All right, here's a prediction. How many times do you think they're going to show Braun Strowman tipping over the ambulance in the pre-show? I'm guessing 3 times.
I'm gonna go once.
Oh, come on.
Yeah,
I'll go in between you guys and say 2.
I'll go none at all then, because that was quite a while ago. I don't know if their memory will extend far back enough.
Somebody else fact check this, because I'm not going to watch the whole pre-show.
I'm gonna go once because it's on the pre-show. Because I think you're gonna see it another time during the actual show.
Oh yeah, definitely. Right before the match, they'll do the promo.
I love.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the promo packages they do. They just show them too often.
Oh yeah, I mean, after watching Monday Night Raw or SmackDown or whatever the pay-per-view is that they're targeting, after watching that, it's like you've seen it on Raw, then you've seen it the next week when they recapped it, and then you've seen it the 2 weeks after that because they recapped the previous 2 weeks. Then they go and they do the pre-show, and they're like, "Hey, did you check out the stuff from the past 5 weeks?" And you're like, "Yeah." And then they go, "Well, we'll show it to you
Here it is
now
again.
and
Yeah.
later
Yes.
on."
Yeah.
So by the time you get done the whole setup with whatever the pay-per-view is, you've seen the same footage at least 8-9 times. And then they recap stuff on SmackDown if it's been on Raw. Then after the pay-per-view, it's been, let's show you what happened on the pay-per-view. And very frustrating. Like, I kind of look at wrestling as like wasting so much time of mine. If I could get back all that time, it'd be great.
I just hope we never have to watch again the Bailey promo where she's reading the letter that she wrote as a kid and crying about how it's like, okay, we've seen that 1,000 times. Enough already.
I think that they know that now, that they can't do that anymore.
Ugh.
No, Tony, please tell me if you have seen this. There was one promo for Great Balls of Fire that I've only seen once, and I laughed my ass off because it was just a sheet of paper being given to the stars with just the lyrics of Great Balls of Fire, and they just had them read it. And it starts out with Cesaro and Sheamus just looking at it, very confused, and tried really, really hard, but horribly failed. And, then Sasha gets it, and she just goes all out singing it. Dean Ambrose, happy as hell singing it. They give it to, the best part of it was when they gave it to Finn Balor. He just looks at it, looks up, looks down at it. I don't know this song. And hands the piece of hair. I was laughing. I was in tears.
And that's why you're not on the show, buddy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't know this song? All right, you're not on the card.
And yeah, I've only seen it once. I was in tears.
I didn't see that one, yeah.
Why has no one else seen this?
Vince saw the promo and he was like, clearly Finn Balor doesn't connect with the kids. He doesn't know Great Balls.
That must be it.
Oh, it was so funny.
Great Balors of Fire.
Mm-hmm.
What are we at? We all did the Cruiserweight, right?
Yep. I think we're all going with Neville.
So one of the things that bumped pretty much everything off the card, it seems, is that 30-minute Iron Man match for the Raw Tag Team Championship, which is Cesaro and Sheamus defending against the Hardy Boys, and I'm hoping is the last time that we see this feud.
Yeah, it's kind of played out. I've kind of had enough of it already.
Now, the main thing to go with here, I think it's kind of twofold, but spoilers if you don't really want to know it necessarily. Sheamus is supposed to be taking time off in August. That Josh Duhamel film that they were advertising, or at least trying to advertise, is supposed to start shooting sometime in August. So I'm assuming you factor that in with the idea that who's the biggest stars here, the Hardy Boys or Cesaro and Sheamus as far as SummerSlam goes? I'm going with the Hardy Boys winning the titles back.
Yeah, I was about to say before you just told me that, I was thinking if we want this feud to end, they're losing to the Hardy Boys. The Hardys are taking it back and taking it somewhere else. So yeah, now if Sheamus has to film that movie, of course, they're giving it to Jeff and Matt.
Here's what I say. I say it's a 30-minute Iron Man match. After 30 minutes, it's going to be tied. And then, no contest or, tie or whatever. And then tomorrow night on Raw, the Hardy Boys win in the rematch.
Oh, they would do that.
They would do that, yeah. 30 minutes and then no
way
decision.
To crush my.
God,
and then they
are going to do that, aren't they?
Yep.
Oh, you're right. They're going to do some bullshit like that.
That's my prediction anyway.
How dare either one of these wonderful tag teams lose in a wonderful historic match like that?
Well, look what they just did with the Money in the Bank. Let's purposely not have a normal finish so we can redo the exact same goddamn match 2 weeks later.
Yep.
And the ratings didn't even move. It wasn't even like, well, we went from a 0.08 or a 0.80 to a 0.9. It was like, I think the rating the previous week was a 0.85 and it went down to a 0.83. So it's like less people watched that than they wanted to figure out what was happening with that shit. I hate when they do that stuff, and they're totally going to do it. God damn it, Caitlin.
Yeah, they will.
Good job, Caitlin. They're going to listen to this now, and then they're definitely going to do it, even if they weren't planning on doing it.
Good. Glad I could have some input.
We need that Brian guy back instead.
Yeah, where's Brian?
He books better matches.
Callum, you think we're getting new tag champs here, or Raw, or are we sticking with Cesaro and Sheamus?
I'm a little conflicted on this one. Rumor has it that the Hardy Boys have worked out an agreement with Anthem to get the broken gimmick back, and they could be debuting that pretty soon if they can get the agreement sorted. But I'm going to go with the Hardy Boys because I think they're going to just transition the belts onto the Revival soon.
I hope so. If they end up dropping it to anybody, the Revival needs to be the ones.
And I don't see any team that Cesaro and Sheamus could really feud with after the Hardy Boys in a babyface capacity. I guess maybe Gallows and Anderson if they decided to turn them face, because they have been working babyface on like main event and house shows recently.
That or maybe Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews.
You can't.
Oh God, no.
Then you can't take them seriously. You can't take Heath Slater and Rhino seriously either, and they're the only real babyface teams on the roster at the moment. I just have the Revival beat the Hardy Boys for it eventually, and just run roughshod for a while until you get some new babyface team on Raw. Don't know who though.
Yeah, at that point, who the hell do you have? Because we're losing tag teams now. We got like Enzo and Cass split up. The Clones are leaving. DIY split up. AOP and Sanity are both heels. Nobody gives a shit about Heavy Machinery, or TM61 hasn't existed in a while.
No.
You bring in the Young Bucks.
As baby faces, though? They're kind of dicks.
Yeah, everyone likes them though. Like
they'll be over with the crowd though.
They're like popular dicks.
Well, so are Cesaro and Sheamus.
Yeah, but Cesaro's popular.
Well, if we're talking about popular dicks, then we got to talk about Seth Rollins versus Bray Wyatt.
Transition. Beautiful.
So this feud fucking sucks.
Yeah.
This is the worst feud of the entire year so far, I think.
Yeah.
This is so goddamn bland. Like, I hate it. Every part about this.
Yeah, why are they feuding?
What are they feuding over again? I forget. What?
Well, apparently Bray Wyatt said quite a lot of stuff, but I haven't listened to any of it.
It's all the same and it doesn't mean anything. And
You know what they're feuding over legitimately? Seth Rollins, like 4 weeks ago, cut a promo where they were having a match with a bunch of people. It was like a 6-man tag. And Rollins was like, oh, I don't care about Braun Strowman or even Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt got mad. He was like, hey, you don't care about me? Well, fuck you. And that's been the basis of this whole feud.
Yeah,
I'm not even joking.
It's like
that's
some kind of insult.
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah.
Oh boy.
It wasn't even like a big insult either. It was like, I think the exact line might have been something like Braun Strowman's a monster and I don't care about him, and Samoa Joe, I've already fought him before, and Bray Wyatt, he's no warlord, or he's no wizard, or no god, or something like that. And it was just brushed off as like just generic Charlie Caruso interview backstage in the middle of Raw one time. And then that became like, you insulted me and my feelings are hurt, and now I'm going to cut the same goddamn promo for the next 5 weeks. And this is awful.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
It's
There's
not
no
even a bad feud in the sense of like the Bailey, this is your life type of thing. It's just bad and like, it's pointless. You can flip a coin, either of these guys win, and it doesn't change anything.
Nope.
No, the Bailey and Alexa Bliss feud was bad because the segments involved in it were bad. This is bad because it has no direction to it. These are the people that are feuding because they have nobody else to feud with at the moment.
Yeah,
And it's blatantly obvious.
They don't have like a direction plan for it. They're not going to lead to a renewed Wyatt family versus Shield match or something along those lines. It's just two people feuding because there's everyone else in the roster is busy, so they have to have a match.
Yeah, it feels forced and just uninspired.
And you can tell the guys aren't behind it either.
Yeah, I'm not interested. They're
Whenever
just
they
treading
talk
water.
and should interact. Yeah.
it's been more fun watching Seth Rollins against Kurt Hawkins,
Yeah.
which is sad. Like, I'd rather just see another rematch between those two, and Bray Wyatt can go fuck JoJo for a little bit. You know, better use of time.
Question is, do you think Bray Wyatt's been the person who's been hurt the most by the renewed draft?
Shake up.
Yeah, the shake-up, yeah.
Oh, easily.
Well,
But
he
he was
did get the title.
Well, he was WWE champion on SmackDown, and then he's
Right.
moved on to Raw, and now he's in this state of.
Oh, you mean the
Nobody
shake-up?
can stop.
I
Yeah, the
was
shake-up,
talking about the split in general.
Oh,
Yeah, I would say he does seem kind of lost in the fray. Bray in the fray.
Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
But here's where I'll argue a little bit that it's not necessarily the case. I don't think Bray Wyatt was good enough to win that WWE Championship to begin with.
Yeah, he did just sort of seem like a transitional champion.
Yes, he did.
They gave Randy Orton the Royal Rumble win because they wanted him to win the title at WrestleMania from Bray Wyatt, so they put the title on Bray Wyatt so he could lose it to Randy Orton.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't make this to where it was like, let's give Bray Wyatt the title at like Survivor Series and he could drop it at WrestleMania. He was totally a transitional champion. So at that point, it's like, yeah, he won it. And now it's like forever etched into the history that Bray Wyatt was the world champion. But he's never seemed good enough like that to me. He was always like an upper mid-carder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what he's always seemed to be for me.
It's a shame, too, because it's like, he's got a lot of potential, but he just doesn't quite do it. Like, if he cut half as many promos as he does, and they actually seemed like they actually mattered, and it wasn't just spouting out nonsense, it would come off cooler. Like, I liked what this week he was saying about how, like, now that he's been on Monday Night Raw, he's been influencing all this dark energy, and now Enzo and Cass have split up, and, like, that's all because of him. And I was like, that's kind of cool edge to the character, but I don't fucking buy it. You know, he hasn't been the one backstage kind of influencing Big Cass to turn heel on Enzo, and that would be a cool gimmick for him to like just want to make other people shittier. But instead they have him walking around a desert talking about how Seth Rollins is Seth Rollins, and that's not something to get behind.
I saw a nice wannabe hopeful dream. Bo Dallas actually become his brother, join the family, and that they both become prophets and use Bo as actually like the friendly, like, no, yeah, come on, guys, you should really do this. While Bray's in the back, like, telling Bo what to do and the dark evil one.
I wish they would go back to the Bo Dallas gimmick when he first debuted, and he was the motivational, inspirational kind of guy.
But not totally, doll him up, baby him up, like, dress like Bray and stuff. But
because I liked him on NXT, but I don't know, they've really dropped the ball on him too.
Basically, we could have Bo Dallas be like the recruiter for the movementarians.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be down for it. Why not? Especially if it's less time for Bray Wyatt talking.
Exactly. I just thought that would work out so well for both of them at this moment.
A bean that looks just like the leader. I'll put it with the others.
Good old leader beans. Well, I'm doing a randomized pick here, and between Rollins and Wyatt, it is Seth Rollins is going to win. Sure, why not?
I agree. Seth Rollins is going to win because Bray Wyatt loses. He talks a big game, and then he almost always loses. And it doesn't matter either way.
I'm going to say Bray's going to win just because it would be better for him in the long run.
I mean, he needs the win.
He needs the win.
He needs the credibility.
I could toss a coin.
So that's why they're not going to give it to him.
I'm going to say he wins just because.
They need to do something with Seth, too.
For the sake of his career, he needs to.
Seth is feeling stale to me. Maybe it's just this feud. I don't know.
I think it's just a feud.
I think it's both.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm going to go with... I probably want to say Wyatt because I don't see what either of these two are going to do at SummerSlam. So they might just give Wyatt a win so Seth Rollins can get the win at SummerSlam in a rematch. But I'll go with Rollins just because I think it's going to be... there's quite a lot of heels I have winning. So give the babyface a win because we don't want to have a repeat of Money in the Bank.
I think a good indication of what's going to happen at SummerSlam is based off of the Intercontinental Championship match. We've got The Miz and Dean Ambrose against each other, and this has to end at this point. I mean, they've been going on for way too long.
Has it been 6 months? It feels like 6 months.
Yeah, they were feuding on SmackDown and then transitioned onto Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kind of like a little hiccup in the middle where they went with like other people. Dean Ambrose did that whole Baron Corbin thing, and then they started picking back up the Miz feud. But I think, well, first off, I think that the Miz is retaining. Is anybody going with Ambrose?
No.
No.
I didn't think so. So it's more so, I think, who does the Miz fight at SummerSlam? Seth Rollins or Finn Balor? If Rollins is the one that he's fighting, Rollins beats Wyatt. But I think it's going to be Balor.
I thought they were already hinting that it was going to be him and the Miz.
Who? Balor,
yeah. They're already hinting at that.
That's the one that I think is more likely. So at that point, that rules out Rollins has to win in order to get some momentum to challenge for the IC title kind of thing. Which means, fuck it, give it to Bray Wyatt. That kind of thing, why not? But I do think that The Miz needs to move on, and if he's going to move on against anybody, it has to be against Rollins or Balor, because it's not going to be Roman Reigns. We know that he's getting that world title shot. We know that somebody like Samoa Joe isn't going to fight The Miz, and we know that they're not going to bump up like Apollo Crews or something, so it's got to be either Rollins or Balor, and Dean Ambrose can go lose to Samoa Joe afterward or something, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Miz and Ambrose... this is Miz's to lose, and I think the Miz Taraj is going to make sure that he doesn't.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yep, 100%. Does the Miz feuding with either Balor or Rollins?
I can't. I'm sorry.
Miz doesn't need the title. Miz doesn't need the title, but I think it's better on him than it would be on Ambrose. Ambrose as a champion just hasn't done it for me. So keep the strap on Miz. I like how they're building up the Miz Taraj thing. I'm not exactly sure if they're going to go with a clean ending, probably a distraction ending.
There is no way in hell this is going to be a clean ending.
No, there'll be some sort of distraction or interference, but I'm going to say Miz definitely retains.
Yeah, Miz retains and he goes on to face Rollins because I believe that Wyatt and Balor is going to be the SummerSlam match.
God, I hope so.
They teased that when Wyatt first came on to Raw, and then they just didn't follow up with it at all.
I think that's a better scenario.
Yeah.
Or do they wait and do that at WrestleMania?
Ooh.
Because Wyatt and Balor at WrestleMania could work.
They won't be able to hold it for that long.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
You're right.
If it doesn't happen at SummerSlam, it's going to happen at like Clash of the Champions or something like that. Because
I don't know. I'm starting to think that maybe with this whole switch up with Roman Reigns challenging at SummerSlam, I think that their idea of what they wanted to do at WrestleMania has all been kind of rearranged. I wouldn't be shocked if we don't get Balor and Wyatt until WrestleMania. Because I could see them doing Balor against The Miz for, like, actually, what is the pay-per-view schedule? Let me bring that up now. Handy dandy, smarkoutmoment.com. Go over to the roster, or not the roster section. I know, my website, the pay-per-view events one, that's what it is. So we've got, after Great Balls of Fire, the next Raw event's going to be SummerSlam, technically.
Mm-hmm.
And then No Mercy. And then TLC, Survivor Series, and most likely Clash of Champions. We know that's coming in December, but it hasn't been confirmed as Raw or SmackDown yet.
Right.
So Clash of Champions, we know we're going to get some kind of IC title match, just by default. Survivor Series, we might not. It's a good chance that we might get that sort of scenario that we got the last time, where we get the tag team elimination match, the women's elimination match, and then the generic mid-carders type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So Survivor Series, we can have a pass. We got to basically book TLC and No Mercy for a feud with a follow-up from SummerSlam. We could do... like I'm fucking in charge of this and working it out. If we get Finn Balor against The Miz at SummerSlam, Finn Balor wins the Intercontinental title. They can continue that into No Mercy and TLC.
Yeah. And
then by that time, he gets a little break with Survivor Series and starts a new feud for Clash of Champions and Royal Rumble and Fastlane or Elimination Chamber, whichever one they're doing. Which, if it's Elimination Chamber, he gets a pass on that one too, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're already talking about WrestleMania. So he really only needs one more feud other than The Miz to bypass Bray Wyatt. And that could be that Elias Samson thing getting picked up. It could be Samoa Joe. It could be Big Cass, actually.
That's actually a really good plan.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that now that Cass
I think, yeah. I was going to say Cass should get the Intercontinental title between now and WrestleMania.
So
I can see that happening.
I'm not thinking that's a guarantee, but I could definitely see Finn Balor defending the IC title against Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania.
Oh, I definitely think that's a possibility, but my issue with that would be the idea that even though they've made some preliminary plans for WrestleMania as they always do, I don't think either Balor or Wyatt's name has come up in the conversation at all. So if it does happen, it's going to be out of chance rather than pre-planning.
There is one rumor or report or dirt sheet scuttlebutt or whatever that they were planning on doing Finn Balor versus Brock Lesnar, and they decided recently, nah.
Good.
Which, yeah, it is good because, first off, Finn Balor would get his ass whooped in that unless they made it unrealistic.
Yeah.
And second, it's like, you can wait. You can do it another time. Don't do it for the Universal title. So... I don't know. I mean, we're all going with The Miz, so no matter what, Dean Ambrose can go fuck off with this. He's not doing anything with the Intercontinental Championship. We know that.
Nope.
Although, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing a Dean Ambrose-Finn Balor feud down the line. I think Ambrose would need to turn heel, though.
We need Ambrose to do something after this, because I don't really know where his direction is going to be. I know you've mentioned the idea of him maybe facing Samoa Joe next. But I don't really see a clear direction for him. He's just going to be lost in the mid-card for a little while.
Lose to Big Cass every once in a while. And
yeah.
Well, there's some options for Joe. Not for Joe, for Ambrose.
Yes.
Between Joe and potentially Big Cass and
Samson.
Braun Strowman. Could do something with him.
Mm.
But let's talk Big Cass a little bit here. Big Cass and Enzo Amore not being bumped to the pre-show, which I'm happy to say.
Yeah.
I was kind of worried that they were going to do that, but Neville and Tozawa makes a little bit more sense. Big Cass and Enzo is like a big enough storyline that they really should have kept that on the main card, so it's good that they didn't fuck them over. I was about to
say, the story is way too popular right now with the crowd for them to bump it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the over-under that I'm going to set here is 83%. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Does Big Cass squash Enzo?
I'm not going to say squash, but Cass is definitely picking up the win.
One of my theories, was that Big Cass is going to squash Enzo, and then Big Show is going to come out and kick Big Cass's ass.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I think it's very likely this match goes sub 5 minutes. I don't know whether that would count as a squash or not. But I think Enzo's going to get a little bit more fight out of Cass than we would have initially anticipated. Because I assumed this was just going to be a rollover job. But after the promo Enzo cut on Raw, he's getting a bit of momentum behind him.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't. That's why I don't think it's going to be a squash. I think Cass is going over. I think they're going to leave a little bit in the bag, though. They're not going to give us everything. So this is just their first matchup. They're going to do it again, and hopefully it builds every time. So I'm guessing this will probably go 6 to 8.
See, I'm thinking this is going to be a squash. I'm thinking Big Cass is going to beat Enzo. I mean, if it lasts more than 5 minutes, it's because Big Cass draws it out.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're getting Enzo barely getting anything in on Cass. Like, having a lot of energy and really hyping up the crowd about, like, maybe the third match of the card. And as soon as Big Cass comes out and the match starts, Enzo tries to hit, like, a drop kick or so, and Big Cass just beats the shit out of him, and then that's the end of it. And then I think that at SummerSlam, we get Big Show with Enzo in his corner against Big Cass. And we never see another Big Cass and Enzo match again.
I don't think they do it.
I think they fast track it.
Mm.
Yeah, I think this is kind of a one and done, at least on pay-per-view. They might have a couple of matches on Raw. I think this will actually be probably the longest match out of any of their like future matches, because obviously Raw has a bit more time constraints than the pay-per-view. So I imagine if they have, I could definitely picture a situation where Enzo and Cass have a match here that's fairly competitive and Cass wins, and then the next night on Raw they have another match that goes 2 minutes and Cass squashes him.
Yeah, I think Enzo will get a few good hits on him before this match ends.
And then it's off to the Cruiserweight division.
How many dimes is he going to end up at the end of the match owning? Still 0 dimes?
All the dimes.
Well, we know that he's not going to be the one that's taken out on the ambulance.
No.
Which would be a good transition, but I don't want to talk about that match yet.
I was about to call you out on it. I was waiting for your next words.
Nah, fuck it. Let's go to a Raw Women's Championship match.
All right.
Oh.
Alexa Bliss versus Sasha Banks. And I'm assuming that everybody's probably going to echo the same statement I have here, but we're getting Alexa versus Nia Jax at SummerSlam, right?
God, I hope so. I wish she would have won
I hope so.
the tournament, the gauntlet. I wish that would have been Nia Jax. But hopefully they're just teasing that to test the waters and see how the crowd would have liked it. And they are saving that for SummerSlam.
I don't get it, though.
Go ahead.
I don't get it, though. They're both heels. You're going to have a heel versus heel match for the Women's Championship at SummerSlam. It just doesn't feel right.
Well, they're not going to advertise it as heel versus heel. They're advertising it as Alexa Bliss, the goddess, versus Nia Jax, the Snickers monster. And
I think Nia Jax sometimes is portrayed as more of a tweener. I mean, she is a heel, but I like that sort of a lone wolf, no pun intended for Baron Corbin, but sort of the Stone Cold or Baron Corbin, like she's in it for herself. She just wants to dominate. She doesn't care if you're a heel or a baby face, and that's how they should portray her.
No, I never saw her really as a heel, just sort of like, yeah, some kind of monster that will do whatever the hell she wants.
Kind of like how Big Show, he's the big guy. They can play him back and forth to heel and face very easily. I think Nia Jax would benefit her to also have that sort of flexibility.
And I think she has it.
I don't think she has much flexibility. Have you seen her in the ring?
Well, she doesn't have that much possibility. Yeah.
It's just a fast. It feels like a fast track because they had those few segments where Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax were kind of on the same page, and Alexa Bliss was trying to manipulate Nia Jax to get her way and keep hold of her championship. But they just dropped that after a couple of weeks, and then Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss were fighting for the title. It's just the Raw Women's division has been a joke for the lot since WrestleMania.
Yeah, you're right. It has.
That's true.
It doesn't have the same pull as the SmackDown Women's division, which has at least a bit more like clarity and clear direction about it, even if the direction isn't always the most popular one. The Raw one is it's such a chaotic mess, and people like Mickie James and Dana Brooke and Emma have no credibility about them anymore, especially because they all got beaten by Nia Jax in succession after she'd already beaten Bayley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and almost every week they just make it a huge clusterfuck match, and it's stupid. I really hate what they've been doing.
Also, I'm getting, as someone who like watches a lot of women's wrestling, especially on WWE, I'm getting quite tired of like general managers constantly coming out and like raising their hands after victories and stuff like that. Like, you don't do that for men's matches. Why do you have to do it for the women? Just let the women wrestle, have good matches. You don't need to say, oh, look how special they are. Look how amazing they are. They can do that on their own.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's pissing me off to see Kurt Angle like come out to raise Sasha Banks' hand after she beat someone who'd already wrestled 4 matches beforehand.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
That's overcompensation.
Yeah, well, they were already the main event of that show, and it was and I thought Banks and Nia Jax had a great match. But yeah, you don't need that extra emphasis on it.
Look at it this way. We're at a point now, which is great, that we had 3 women's matches in the main event of Raw, NXT, and SmackDown, and a lot of people didn't even realize it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad.
To make a big deal about like, well, we're finally going to get a Raw women's match as like the main event of Raw or whatever like that, and now it's like, and like your point being, and that's like, that's good because that's the way that it should be. If like the stupid ass idea of the women's Money in the Bank ladder match rematch thing never should have happened to begin with, but for sure that should have been the main event, and it was, and nobody questioned it and that stuff. So it's like, this past 2 years they've done more for women's wrestling than they have in the entire history of going back to Fabulous Moolah winning her first title and stuff. But they don't need that kind of mentality like you were saying about like Kurt Angle being like, you see, Sasha Banks, she won and stuff, because it's like, well, no shit, like she did win, of course she won, that's what we just saw. Like
with regards to this match, I've also just going to say, with regards to this match, I think it's going to be infinitely better than either of the Alexa Bliss and Bayley matches.
Yeah, I got a feeling it's going to be better, but at the same time too, if it's not good and we call shit on it, it's because it's not good.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not going to be that, like, well, that's the only women's match on the card, and, you know, you guys don't know how to talk about that and whatever.
I'm hoping it's good.
Yeah, I really, really like Alexa Bliss and Sasha Banks. That was one of the main feuds that I was looking forward to after they came up. And now we're going to finally get it. So I was hoping that this would have been later down the line, actually, because I'm sort of getting worried that maybe they're going to just sort of do the Nia Jax thing at SummerSlam. And, well, let's put it this way. What I was kind of hoping, which I don't think we're going to get now, and maybe not necessarily would have been the best course of action, but in my mind, this is how I would have booked things. Alexa Bliss would have dropped the title to Sasha Banks at around, like, a little bit before Survivor Series, kind of. And then Sasha Banks would have turned heel, eventually, and then she would have dropped it to Bayley at WrestleMania. course, that's factoring in Bayley shouldn't have gone into this year's WrestleMania as champion and all that other kind of nonsense, but they fucked that up.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think Sasha Banks as a heel against Bayley is the only money match that you can really get from the Raw roster now. So if they do Sasha Banks winning the title, she can't really win it now.
Yeah, it's too early.
So do you give it to Nia Jax at SummerSlam, and then Nia Jax drops it to somebody like Sasha, and then you do that? Or do you switch it to somebody else? Or does Nia keep it until WrestleMania? Or, like, what do you guys think that we should be doing going forward? Nobody's going with Sasha beating Alexa here, right, though?
No. I go with giving the title to Nia Jax at SummerSlam, and then she drops it to Asuka at WrestleMania.
To Wasker?
Asuka.
I thought he said Wasker.
Good old Wasker.
That Wasker.
Yeah.
Rascally Wabbit.
I did forget about Asuka. She is a possibility. For the longest time, I thought she was going to SmackDown. I don't know now. Because Kurt Angle just said something about her going to Raw.
Yeah, I don't think SmackDown need her. Raw needs somebody to be a big figurehead babyface.
Yeah.
And I think Asuka could pull that off.
Well, is Asuka a babyface? Because she certainly seems more like a heel lately.
Well, you can always switch them easily when you switch brands.
If she's coming to Raw, it wouldn't matter if she was a heel or a face on NXT.
Yeah, I think she'll just do. I think she'll just do the just the fighter that takes all comers. Essentially, she won't be heel or babyface. She'll just fight whoever she wants to, and because that's kind of what she's doing in NXT. She's fighting people like Ember Moon, and then she's fighting Nikki Cross. So she's not like sticking to. All right, I'm only facing the bad people. I'm only facing the good people. She fights who she fights. And that's what makes her such a good champion.
Although, if you really want to go with putting like legacy against legacy, shouldn't Asuka fight Goldberg?
I'd pay to see that.
Yeah, I would too.
So we're all going Alexa Bliss, and it's basically just let's see what happens at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
More so than anything, which actually, by the time SummerSlam happens, we'll have a much better indication of where they're going to go in the future, because at that point, NXT TakeOver will already be done. Mm-hmm. And that's more than likely when Asuka's going to drop that title. It seems like Ember Moon's getting that push.
I'm just hoping at SummerSlam for the women's title, we get a one-on-one match. I hate when they're like, oh, everybody needs a paycheck, so let's make a triple threat or a fatal four-way or, just another clusterfuck. Just have a solid one-on-one match, please.
That is another possibility. They could do Bliss versus Banks versus Nia Jax. And then kind of after that, when they do, I lost track of what that pay-per-view was, No Mercy, then that one is Bliss against Jax. But they might think that it's not good enough for just SummerSlam on its own.
You know,
that could have been why they brought Sasha Banks into the mix here.
Yeah.
Very curious. We still have two other matches on the card, though. We've got the ambulance match, Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman, which the highlight of this by far has been Braun Strowman.
Of course.
Being Braun Strowman.
It's worked.
I love when he cuts promos and he doesn't quite realize that it's like funny how it's almost sort of like a little kid trying to be intimidating. Now Braun Strowman, of course, is not a little kid as far as looks go, but when he speaks and he's just kind of like, you think you're tough? Well, what about an ambulance match? I'll see you at Great Balls of Fire. Like that kind
of he reminds me of my 4.5-year-old nephew.
It's so funny because he's like one of the most intimidating looking guys, but when he cuts a longer promo, it's really funny. I loved when he was saying, I'll see you at Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view. And I can't remember exactly what the line was, but he said something like, if Roman Reigns is as stubborn as he thinks he is, It's just like they keep cutting out lines when they do the recuts of different things and stuff. But Braun Strowman's best thing is that whole "I'm not finished with you" thing.
I don't know. You guys might agree, but for months now, my favorite part of Raw has been Braun Strowman.
Easily.
Yeah,
like
100%.
There's no question about it. I've liked the idea of Big Cass turning on Enzo. I've liked The Miz doing some of his shtick. I've had fun watching like a couple different things here and there, but
Yeah, there's other
no
fun
comparison.
parts.
Braun Strowman is easily the best part, especially when he's picking up like Callisto and throwing him in the garbage.
Yeah, I enjoyed that so much.
I
He's
loved
been
Titus O'Neil this week saying, "Do you think anybody gave a shit about Callisto before Braun Strowman threw him in the garbage?" It's a good point.
he's been the MVP of 2017 so far, and he's been out of action for like a month or so. Yeah, 2 months.
Yeah, and he just came right back into it.
He's so awesome. I'm hoping, speaking of like trying to get into plans for WrestleMania, we need this kind of spoils a little bit about the Universal title match, but we need Roman Reigns to beat Brock Lesnar for that title at SummerSlam. And Brock Lesnar at that point doesn't need to win all of his matches because he doesn't have that Universal Championship. And I'm thinking Braun Strowman needs to beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania next year.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
He needs to beat Lesnar at some point. That would really establish him.
Because he's the guy now. Like, he's their next Big Show. And you can't really just do the Big Show match again. Like, we've already seen him beat the shit out of Big Show. Brock Lesnar's the guy he needs to beat to cement his status. And it's a shame we're not going to get an Undertaker match. That sucks so bad.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
That would have been better. I think people would have been more on board with Strowman taking down Undertaker and forcing him to retire than Reigns.
I would have gone with Reigns still. But
Well,
I do think that it's a shame that, because Undertaker is our benchmark for like any kind of monster. And he's going to be the first one that we're not going to actually be able to see. And Samoa Joe, too. We're not going to be able to see Samoa Joe versus Undertaker. That sucks. Or Styles versus Undertaker. God damn it, WWE. Or Sting.
Mm-hmm.
But Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns in this ambulance match is sort of one of those things where you can argue that both guys deserve to win it for different reasons. Because if Roman Reigns wins that Universal title, he doesn't need to win the ambulance match. But then, do you have him win the ambulance match to give him momentum to win that Universal title?
He doesn't need it.
No, he doesn't.
But in
I
a
hate him.
kayfabe sense, he does. It's kind of like if Reigns has already come out and said that he's going to be the next person in line for the Universal Championship match, but can he really stake a claim to it if he loses this match to Strowman?
Yeah,
just speaking
because
like
he's Roman Reigns.
That is a fair point. But I just don't know what Strowman does if he beats Roman Reigns and then he just, okay, so I'll be in the third match on the card while you're in the main event against Brock Lesnar. It just doesn't make sense. So either you have Reigns win or you have Strowman win and Strowman faces Lesnar at SummerSlam, which isn't going to happen.
It's just tough because kind of getting into the Universal Championship match too. Brock Lesnar against Samoa Joe eats up two heels against each other. And if let's say Brock Lesnar retains, and we get Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, do you pair up Braun Strowman versus Samoa Joe? That doesn't seem right.
I think Strowman is going to feud with Dean Ambrose.
And then what do you do with Samoa Joe?
Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Then what do you do with Bray Wyatt?
He can just cut promos and lose to nobody.
Miz.
We can't have Samoa Joe and Seth Rollins again. They feuded like on and off, like they were feuding before WrestleMania and then they feuded after WrestleMania. You can't have them face each other.
Oh yeah, because they never do the same match over and over.
Oh no,
and over
they
again.
never do that.
It's just it's too close proximity for that to happen again. I think with Samoa Joe, you have to throw him into a match with someone like, I think you have to do Balor again.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Because they haven't seen that on the main roster, at least, even though a lot of people have seen it on NXT. And we know they have good matches against each other.
Yeah.
This is tough because it's like it's a weird balancing act. With these crossover pay-per-views, they don't have enough room to put everybody on the card, but you do kind of want to sort of figure out a way to get almost everybody. So you factor in, we know we're going to get a WWE Championship match. We're probably going to get a United States Championship match, and then Intercontinental, Universal, Raw and SmackDown Women's, Raw and SmackDown Tag Team potentially. You're already at 8 matches on the card. Cruiserweight's 9. And we got room for maybe like 3 more at most. Between those 3 more, that's factoring in Rollins, Wyatt, Big Cass, Enzo, Strowman, Samoa Joe, Dean Ambrose. Like, there's lots of people in the mix.
That's only on the Raw side.
Yeah, then you got Shinsuke Nakamura and Baron Corbin and Sami Zayn and Mike Kanellis. And so unless you do some kind of like multi-title match kind of thing, like Miz and Ambrose and Wyatt and Rollins, to kind of just like throw 4 people into one match and stuff, it's kind of hard to figure out where they're going to go with that stuff. But I think for sure... well, unless we do get Miz, Ambrose, Wyatt, Rollins, if that's an Intercontinental title match, other than that, I think we definitely get Braun Strowman or Samoa Joe versus Dean Ambrose. And it's kind of making me a little bit nervous that there's a possibility we could get Braun Strowman win this ambulance match, and they could make it a triple threat, Lesnar, Strowman, and Reigns. I don't want it to happen, but I'm a little bit worried about it.
That's a possibility. I didn't think about that.
That's what I was thinking that, well, with the Universal Championship match, Lesnar versus Joe, it's got to lead to whoever Joe's next feud is going to be, I'm thinking. So does somebody interfere? I don't think it's just going to be straight up, because I think Lesnar's retaining, but I don't think it's just going to be a straight up clean victory. I think somebody's going to distract or some kind of interference or something, which is going to lead to Joe's next feud, because Roman Reigns is going to step in there with Lesnar. I'm not sure who that's going to be, though.
Yeah, I was just thinking, who the hell would that be?
Samoa Joe being a heel, I don't think a babyface is going to distract him.
No.
I'm thinking Lesnar just wins.
Yeah, I have a sinking feeling in my stomach, especially with the amount of matches that are going on this card, that Lesnar versus Joe is going to go less than 5 minutes.
With just no...
Yeah, with just Lesnar winning. Winning
straight.
Yep, straight away.
Match, just Lesnar going over clean, but what does that do for Joe?
Nothing. But it doesn't matter.
I think that there could be a good chance that WWE's mentality is, well, we had Brock Lesnar get his ass whooped by Goldberg and he won the Universal title, but we're going to have him drop it at SummerSlam, so he needs to look strong going into SummerSlam. I can see them doing that. But I'm also nervous about the idea of that triple threat, because I'm also thinking, what if they think, well, we want to do Braun Strowman, Brock Lesnar, but we don't think that that's the right play. We do want Roman Reigns to win that title, but we can't have Brock Lesnar lose because he's Brock Lesnar.
And he's an
Reigns
asshole.
pins Strowman.
So they do Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, Brock Lesnar. Roman Reigns pins Braun Strowman to get the win because Braun Strowman wins the ambulance match. And then that way, Strowman wins the ambulance match, but he loses at SummerSlam. Roman Reigns wins the title, but he doesn't pin Brock Lesnar. And then you fucking do that goddamn Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar match again. Because
there you
Brock
go.
Lesnar
I think you just figured it all out. You just figured it all out, Tony.
I think that's where we might be going here.
Yeah.
And I'm nervous as fuck about it because I don't want it to happen. I want it to be straightforward. Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. Roman Reigns beats Brock Lesnar, and then that's it. No fucking rematches. No more Reigns and Lesnar. We've already seen it before. We don't need to see it anymore. And you can just... I'm totally cool, too, with Roman Reigns holding that Universal Championship all the way until WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
Have him be a babyface, have him be a heel, have him feud with Balor and Strowman and Joe and Ambrose and Big Cass and whoever the hell you want to throw into the mix there. But I do not want to see Reigns and Lesnar anymore. Like, I'm fine with it being at SummerSlam this year.
Now, I would be fine I would be fine with Reigns holding the title if it meant I'd never have to see Brock Lesnar again. It is so annoying how much of a prick he is.
Well, I just think it devalues the title, not ever having it around.
Yeah,
having it around
that
so
too.
little.
Yep.
He
I know some
refuses
people,
to go
some
on the
people have the
show.
opposite, that they're saying,
No, I'm of the
because
opposite.
it makes it so prestigious because when he shows up, it's a big deal. But it also, on the flip side, if it's never around, well, I guess that title doesn't mean much. It's never around, so it's not important.
Oh, yeah, I understand that opinion, but I think it's prestigious because it's around the waist of Brock Lesnar as opposed to it's not ever around. The reason why Brock Lesnar is so prestigious is because he doesn't wrestle all the time. And that's a fault that falls onto basically everybody else on the roster because they have to wrestle all the time. They're on every show, they're on every 3-hour Raw, they're on every 2-hour SmackDown, they're on every single pay-per-view. Because Lesnar only appears every now and again. He's a big draw, he's a big deal, and that's why he elevates the championship, in my opinion.
So why didn't they ever put it on Undertaker within the last few years? Give him the world championship. We know he's going to wrestle twice a year or once a year.
They could have done that, and I don't think a lot of people would have been against it again. But again, you would have actually a lot of people would have paid a lot of money or would have desperately got a hold of the network to see the match where Undertaker defends the title the 1 or 2 times they had it a year.
My issue with that is if Brock Lesnar is that big of a star, he doesn't need the title.
Right.
And he
the
doesn't.
The title doesn't get, like, when Brock Lesnar does drop that title, it's going to go back to square one. So it's not like it's permanently better now that he's holding it, kind of.
I'd
rather see Brock Lesnar fight these random people, like Brock Lesnar versus Samoa Joe at this point. I know Samoa Joe's not going to win that title going into SummerSlam. So now I'm not as interested because Samoa Joe versus Brock Lesnar without the title in the line, Joe could have won, you know?
That's true. I think this feud has been one of the best that WWE have put together this year.
It has been entertaining. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
Even though I forgot my issues with how they might book this and preface the post-show a little bit. If this turns into a thing where it does seem like we're going to get some weird-ass booking, guaranteed my post-show rants are going to be going on long. But barring the idea that they're going to fuck this all up when it comes to SummerSlam and WrestleMania and stuff, I've been enjoying Joe versus Lesnar because they have been making Joe look like he's not a wimp.
I agree. Yeah,
yes.
I'm liking this program. I like the matchup between these two. But to echo what you said, Tony, I think this one would benefit from not having the title on the line. Because as it is, we pretty much, all of us agree that Lesnar's retaining. Lesnar's winning. But otherwise, you don't know.
It is unfortunate that it seems so predictable that Lesnar's going to win. Because I think Samoa Joe, especially in this feud, has proven that he could be a really good world champion.
I still think it's going to be a great match.
So here's just a random-ass fantasy booking pitch. We're trying to figure out a way to make it to where Lesnar wins, but Joe doesn't just get squashed and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What if we have Roman Reigns ringside? He knows he's going to
pop
fight the
out.
winner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was
like
thinking,
distraction.
that somebody else would get involved. Not necessarily directly involved.
We could get something where, like, Brock and Samoa Joe, it was so awkward. I was just going to just refer to them by their first names, and I was like, Brock and Samoa? It doesn't really work.
No.
Brock and Joe.
Brock and Sam.
Like, they're out there in the ring, and we've got Roman Reigns ringside as just like a commentator or just sort of watching off, in the distance to see what's happening. He's already beaten Braun Strowman in the ambulance match, so you don't have to worry about Braun Strowman coming out to attack Roman Reigns. And then something happens where Lesnar and Joe start arguing kind of around the outside with Roman Reigns. He gets involved a little bit, and he goes for a spear, and he hits Samoa Joe as opposed to Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar pins Samoa Joe. Joe can be all pissed about it and start looking for like a fight or something, and that maybe that's why he starts fighting Dean Ambrose, because he's like, hey, he's your boy, right? I'm going to go beat the shit out of your boy Dean Ambrose.
Yeah.
Starts a feud with that. After Roman Reigns wins that Universal Championship from Brock Lesnar, we get Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe for a little bit. Hire me, WWE. What the fuck? I just figured out all your goddamn stories. All the way up until WrestleMania. I got Bray Wyatt and Finn Balor. I've got Big Cass and Big Show. And 10 seconds takes to figure this shit out. And you got how many writers? And we're going to get some goddamn Lesnar, Strowman, Reigns, triple threat bullshit. And
Yeah. It's just amazing how all it does is take one person to write months-long better stories than, God knows how many people sitting in a room 8 hours a day.
Right.
It's like WWE used to do that when they were better.
Mm-hmm.
When they cared.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to it, push comes to shove. We've got the Universal Championship match and the ambulance match. Who do you got for those two?
Braun
Snowman.
Braun Snowman. And
he's gonna melt with the Great Balls of Fire.
As long as he doesn't have Great Balls of Fire. Maybe just coals instead of the eyes. The
Great Coals of Fire.
And Brock Lesnar.
Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar.
As much as I would prefer Strowman win, I'm going to put my money on Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar retains.
Although I will preface that I will lose my shit if Samoa Joe makes Brock Lesnar pass out.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be so interesting.
I'd love to see that.
I'm going to go with Lesnar retaining, Roman Reigns winning, but I'm reserving a little bit of judgment that I can be super pissed off on Sunday night with, even though I like them, with Braun Strowman winning just because they'll fuck up everything with Roman Reigns and all that stuff. So I want to root for Braun Strowman, but I only want to root for Braun Strowman if they don't fuck up the Reigns stuff. Because I'd rather Braun Strowman lose this ambulance match and for them to sort out the Universal title situation than for him to win this one, which really doesn't mean all that much, and then for them to screw up the title scene. But we'll see how they end up doing that in the future. Maybe they got some kind of trick up their sleeve. Maybe they're going to call up some people from NXT or switch some people around, or the free agent John Cena thing will be factored in there somewhere, or I doubt it, but I guess we're going to find out on Sunday night. So everybody pay attention to smarkoutmoment.com for the live coverage of Great Balls of Fire and the post-show following it, where we'll either be talking about how amazing it was and how we're really looking forward to SummerSlam, or we'll be doing the doom and gloom of, well, they're going to fuck up SummerSlam, and then they're going to fuck up WrestleMania, and like all that kind of stuff. Hopefully that's not the case, though. But if you want to be aware of when we do that kind of stuff, follow the Facebook and the Twitter accounts, both at SmarkOutMoment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel at SmarkOutMoment on YouTube, obviously, to get the notifications of the post-show coming up and all that. Just hit that little bell icon and check off the notification little boxes. They've got that. So that's my plugs at the very least. Kaylin, anything you want to toss out?
Yeah, if you're in Ohio, Michigan, or any of the surrounding states, check out Northwest Ohio Wrestling on Facebook. We have an event coming up this weekend on Saturday, July 8th. It's going to be Fight for Fortune, which is our take on the Money in the Bank ladder match. It's going to be a lot of fun. So check out Northwest Ohio Wrestling.
I like the first Fight for 3 Chin and Fight for 2 Chin. They were good.
Yeah.
Next year it's going to be fight for 5 Chin.
Yep.
You sure it's not Fight for 4chan?
Oh!
It's just going to be a bunch of memes.
Yeah. And horrible racism. Angie, anything you want to piggyback off of that with?
Well, I was going to root for, NOW, but now I don't know what you guys would do to it if I said anything else. We got some good local wrestling over here, guys.
And Callum?
You can follow me on Twitter at Wigmeister14 and check out all the weekly articles on Smark Out Moment.
Go ahead and do that, everybody. Check out all the stuff that's following on all of our social media accounts and everything else like that. Fanboys Anonymous as well, because Spider-Man Homecoming is coming out tomorrow night. So I get to watch that, review it, and talk about whatever is going on with my point of view on that MCU film. And no other stories anywhere else, I don't think. No news on getting All Talk Show back up and running, or I haven't fucking done anything with Out on Limbs in God knows how many years. But smarkoutmoment.com, still stuff happening there, so obviously keep checking that out. But for now, that's going to do us in. So thanks for listening to this, everybody, or watching it, or whatever you do. This has been another Smark Out moment, and we're being counted out.